Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Miracle Network's Wednesday meditation. Today, we have Ian Patrick, who's going to lead us in meditation. And then we're going to have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we're going to open it up for sharing and your questions. Over to you, Ian.
Right. Thank you, Dan. And thank you to Jim for setting this up. Lovely to be with you all. It's good fun. I've been enjoying preparing for today's meditation, so I really appreciate the opportunity. So what are we going to be doing? Meditation. I sometimes wonder how to meditate, and I think I come to these Wednesday sessions and we have a lovely reading, and then I just kind of sit in silence and wonder if I'm doing the right thing. So I was aware that Course in Miracles itself provides some techniques of meditation, so I thought it'd be a good idea to look at those. I think Robert Perry has touched on this in the past, some time ago, so I thought it was worthwhile doing again. So these meditation techniques are particularly in 3 lessons. Ones that are specifically about reaching the light, reaching truth, reaching to God. So I thought we practice those lessons, taking particular attention to the techniques that it's talking about. It talks about sinking into the mind, and these are techniques that can be applied in any meditation, not just these specific 3. So the point of this really is to have an experience of reaching the light, the truth, God. And it's not just about a lovely idea or a concept, but actually having an experience. The 3 lessons I looked at, which are 41, God goes with me wherever I go. Lesson 44, God is the light in which I see. And lesson 69, my grievances hide the light of the world in me. They cover similar ground and share some of the same ideas and images. The sinking, which I've already mentioned, sinking to the mind. They both talk about clouds and light. So what I've done is I've mashed the 3 lessons together. I hope Jesus will forgive me for that. So what I'm going to be doing is reading from those 3 lessons, as I say, mashed up. This will come in 2 parts. One is the preamble, the overview, and then the actual meditation itself. In the meditation, I'll read slowly what the lessons offer, taking us into and through the meditation. Then maybe after 10 minutes, I'll stop reading, and you just continue that what you're doing, that process in silence until the bell goes after the 20 minutes. So during the preamble, which I'm just about to start, you may want to keep your eyes open, but you can close them if you wish, but certainly to close them for the meditation. Okay, the preamble. So it says, of course, A Miracle says, the idea, so we'll take God goes with me wherever I go, will eventually overcome completely the sense of loneliness and abandonment all the separated ones experience. Depression is an inevitable consequence of separation. So are anxiety, worry, a deep sense of helplessness, misery, suffering, and intense fear of loss. The separated ones have invented many cures for what they believe to be the ills of the world. But the one thing they do not question is the reality of the problem. Yet its effects cannot be cured because the problem is not real. The idea for today has the power to end all this foolishness forever. And foolishness it is, despite the serious and tragic forms it may take. Deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the world. It will cure all sorrow and pain and fear and loss, because it will heal the mind that thought these things were real and suffered out of its allegiance to them. You can never be deprived of your perfect holiness, because its source goes with you wherever you go. You can never suffer, because the source of all joy goes with you wherever you go. You can never be alone, because the source of all life goes with you wherever you go. Nothing can destroy your peace of mind because God goes with you wherever you go. We understand that you do not believe all this. How could you, when the truth is hidden deep within under a heavy layer of insane thoughts, dense and obscuring, yet representing all you see? Today, we will attempt to get past this dark and heavy cloud and go through it to the light beyond. Today, let us make another real attempt to reach the light in you. Before we undertake this, let us devote several minutes to thinking about what we are trying to do. We are literally attempting to get in touch with the salvation of the world. We are trying to see past the veil of darkness that keeps it concealed. We are trying to let this veil be lifted and to see the tears of God's Son disappear in the sunlight. Let us begin with the full realization that this is so, and with real determination to reach what is dearer to us than all else. Salvation is our only need. There is no other purpose here and no other function to fulfill. Learning salvation is our only goal. Learning salvation is our only goal. Let us end the ancient search today by finding the light in us and holding it up for everyone who searches with us to look upon and rejoice. In order to see, you must recognize that light is within and not without. You do not see outside yourself, nor is the equipment for seeing outside you. An essential part of this equipment is the light that makes seeing possible. It is always with you, making vision possible in every circumstance. The form of practice we will use today is the most natural and easy one in the world for the trained mind, just as it seems to be the most unnatural and difficult for the untrained mind. Your mind is no longer wholly untrained. You are quite ready to learn the form of exercise we will use today, but you may find that you will encounter strong resistance. The reason is very simple. While you practice in this way, you leave behind everything that you now believe and all the thoughts that you have made up. So now we're going to begin the meditation itself. If you close your eyes, and the 20 minutes will start at this point. Sit quietly with your eyes closed. Begin the practice by repeating today's idea. So we'll use God is the light in which I see. God is the light in which I see. Repeat that very slowly, repeating the idea several times more. Then make no effort to think of anything. Try instead to get a sense of turning inward, past all the idle thoughts of the world. Try to enter very deeply into your own mind, keeping it clear of any thoughts that might divert your attention. From time to time, you may repeat the idea if you find it helpful. But most of all, try to sink down and inward, away from the world and all the foolish thoughts of the world. We're trying to reach past all these things. You are trying to leave appearances and approach reality. If you can stand aside from the ego by ever so little, you will have no difficulty in recognizing its opposition and its fears are meaningless. You might find it helpful to remind yourself from time to time that to reach light is to escape from darkness, whatever you may believe to the contrary. God is the light in which you see. You are attempting to reach him. Then try to sink into your mind, letting go every kind of interference and intrusion by quietly sinking past them. Your mind cannot be stopped in this unless you choose to stop it. It is merely taking its natural course. Try to observe your passing thoughts without involvement and slip quietly by them. For this form of exercise, what is needful is a sense of the importance of what you are doing, its inestimable value to you, and an awareness that you are attempting something very holy. If resistance rises in any form, pause long enough to repeat today's idea, God is the light in which I see, keeping your eyes closed. Very quietly now, try to let go all the content that generally occupies your consciousness. Think of your mind as a vast circle, surrounded by a layer of heavy, dark clouds. You can see only the clouds, because you seem to be standing outside the circle and quite apart from it. From where you stand, you can see no reason to believe there is a brilliant light hidden by the clouds. The clouds seem to be the only reality. They seem to be all there is to see. Therefore, you do not attempt to go through them and past them, which is the only way in which you would really be really convinced of their lack of substance. We will make this attempt today. After you have thought about the importance of what you are trying to do for yourself and the world, try to settle down in perfect stillness, remembering only how much you want to reach the light in you today, now. Determined to go past the clouds. Reach out and touch them in your mind. Brush them aside with your hand and feel them resting on your cheeks and forehead and eyelids as you go through them. Go on. Clouds cannot stop you. You may begin to feel a sense of being lifted up and carried ahead. Your little effort and small determination call on the power of the universe to help you, and God himself will raise you from darkness into light. You are in accord with his will. You cannot fail because your will is his. You should experience some sense of relaxation and even a feeling that you are approaching, if not actually entering, the light. Try to think of light, formless and without limit, as you pass by the thoughts of this world. And do not forget, they cannot hold you to the world unless you give them power to do so. It is quite possible to reach God. In fact, it is very easy because it is the most natural thing in the world. You might even say it is the only natural thing in the world. The way will open if you believe it is possible. Have confidence in your Father today, and be certain that he has heard you and answered you. You may not recognize his answer yet, but you can indeed be sure that it is given you and you will receive it. Try as you attempt to go through the clouds to the light to hold this confidence in your mind. Try to remember that you are at last joining your will to God's. Try to keep the thought clearly in mind that what you undertake with God must succeed. Then let the power of God work in you and through you, that his will and yours be done.
Open your eyes slowly, come back into the room. We have 17 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand, or you can use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off of mute. And if you'd like to ask Ian a question or a comment with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Who'd like to share? Angela.
Ian, that was very good-o. Yeah,
Good-o.
very relevant to me. I found it very helpful, and I loved the way you put the lessons together. It was really very flowing and followed on from each other and concise, and really brought the subject to the attention. And the guided bit with the clouds, I have done that before, and had a lovely visualization, as I did this time, and got to the light. I couldn't quite leave behind the sense of loss. I was aware of that. I didn't release that completely, but I was definitely in the light. And in the clouds, walking through the clouds, I could see the figures or the events in picture ahead of me, and I walked towards them bravely with the light, and I passed through them as though they were clouds. Those images, which they just melted away, and as I walked through them as though they were clouds, even though I could see them as solid images. So thank you, that was very helpful.
But there was still a sense of loss, or at least at the beginning, maybe, is what you're saying.
Yes, but you spoke of in the first part of your talk, you quoted from the lesson that spoke of the separated ones, and how it engenders a sense of loss, of depression, of anxiety, because that's what comes from a sense of loss, isn't it? Those things, yeah. So, but those things that represented the sense of loss, I walked towards them and through them, and they didn't stop me, as you were leading, as the words you said were leading us through.
Yeah.
They didn't stop me.
That was great. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the loss obviously comes from our that sense of loss comes from our attachment to the world, to our lives, to things here, you know. And there is no actual loss, of course, because we're not losing anything that's of any value, but of course, it's everything in this world we value. I thought that's because that's why we're here.
That's why we're still here.
Otherwise, we would have gone long ago.
Yeah.
Ironic, really.
Yes, it is a version of reality that isn't actually reality.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you, Ian.
Who'd like to share?
Welcome.
Sue, take yourself off mute.
Hi, thank you, Ian. That was fascinating, but quite weird.
Weird.
As you were going through the actual meditation part and the guidance you were giving us, I was getting all sorts of weird images in my mind. And I settled on this massive gold plate that was completely surrounded by black. And I knew I couldn't go there on my own. So I asked Jesus and the Holy Spirit to help me. And this figure representing Jesus appeared next to me, and we were both in spacesuits, and there was no gravity or anything. So we got a little way into the black, and I could feel this huge sense of I suppose it was awe, really. It wasn't fear. Last time I did a meditation like this, it was fear, and I closed it down. But then I got playing with the zero gravity and the spacesuits, and it was like there was a lifeline between me and Jesus, and I'm just, way, this is fun. And he was like pulling me back, and I'm going, way, this is fun. I'm weightless, I'm floating. And then I got the seriousness of it, and that sense of excitement grew, and I'm just going deeper into these clouds. And then I don't know what happened, but I was back in this world, planning my day. It was completely gone, and it was like, it really brought home to me the depth of the split in my mind.
Yeah.
Which wasn't the point of the meditation, but was very valuable for me to see that. But I kept trying to get back onto the other side, and I couldn't. I could imagine the spacesuited figures in the dark and the big gold plate, but I couldn't get into it. And I just felt, you know, where did it all go?
Well, I think the nature of our experience is that we have two forces, if you like. Force is not really the correct word, but we've got the force of the ego pulling us back into the world, and what draws us to the light, our wish to go home. And it's like a constant battle between the two. And the Course recognizes that. That's why it gives us these fantastic lessons, and then gives us another 364 more, because it knows that we're you know, we're always going to come back until we don't. And the more we do these sort of exercises, I think the closer we get to the point where we will finally let go of our attachments to the world. But in the meantime, it's going to be exactly as you describe. You're going to keep coming back to what you're going to do for the rest of the day, and what so-and-so said yesterday, and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's just the way, that's the way it is. But it's good, and good to know, to recognize that, to notice that. So that's great. Well done.
Yeah, I realized as you were speaking that just before I was back in this world, back in my ordinary mind, I got a sense of, if I actually get through these clouds, there'll be no more to do. If I actually make it through, then that's, you know, you said we have only the need for salvation and it's our only goal. And I thought, if I actually get there, that's it. And I think it must have been that realization that put me back on the other side.
Right. And then you think, oh, what am I going to do next week then?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
And then back in the everyday. But it was fascinating. Thank you very much. And there's a lot to think about.
Did you get an experience of the light being on the other side of the clouds, big through the clouds?
Yes, definitely. I knew it was there, and I still know it was there, but that knowledge is in the other half of my mind. The experience of that knowledge is in the other half, but I know in this half that is real. It is there.
Yeah, that's right. And once we've had a taste of that, I think, and all of us have, if we've been doing the course for any length of time, there's no going back. That experience will always be with us. We'll always have a memory of that, and we'll never be the same again. That's what I believe. So once you get on the path of the course, it is a one-way street. It might take a long time, but there's no going back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would like to share. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you. That was beautiful, the way you wove those lessons together. And I just felt so connected to the words. It was gorgeous. What lessons were they? Or the numbers would be good.
Numbers, yeah. 40, what was it? 41,
Yeah.
44 and 69.
Great. I shall read those again. So beautiful.
Mm.
Or watch this again, even easier.
Right.
Who'd like to share? Brendan, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Ian. Very much enjoyed that. I think one of the first things you said was deep within you is everything. And I also thought that actually deep within everybody is that everything. And actually, when I look around in my world, deep within everything is everything, or the light of God, the light of love. And this morning I was looking at a few situations within family and they just all seem to be red crosses. And I thought, this is mad. And I realized this is not the truth. Of course it's not the truth. This is just the illusion. The truth is that I can see within every one of my siblings the light. And that's actually my job. That's why I'm here. And, you know, they say you can pick your friends, but you've got your family with you forever. And I have. And it's going to work. It's got to work. And the only way it does work is because I see the light always. The other stuff might be there, but it's not important. It's there. It's not, but it's not important because the light is number one. So, yeah, deep within each of you is the light. Thank you, Ian.
Oh, thank you for the reminder. Actually, I'd forgotten. I've forgotten the lights in my family members. Good, yeah, it is good to remember that. And yeah, the more you can see that of yours and in your siblings, then the more they're gonna know that as well, or the sooner they will know that. If you hold on to that idea, keep that idea in your mind, at some point they're going to get it as well. So you're being a savior to them and everybody else in your life.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you.
Evelyn, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Dan. Ian, thank you. That was just what I needed. I've always had difficulty with this lesson, you know, going through the clouds, because I can feel the fear. It's the fear of, and I could see it very strongly this morning, that there was this strong opposition that if I find the light, if I get through to the light, everything else will, all of this will disappear, you know, and it was just too tempting. I couldn't do it. I couldn't give up. And so I kept trying to get to the light, but I knew in my heart that I was holding on to that resistance. So that resistance, so how do I deal with that resistance? Because I know that the light is everything, and that is all there is but I don't really know. I just know intellectually. So yeah. I don't really know. And yes, I don't really know anything. And it's a relief, but it's also, it doesn't stop that part of me from still wanting to you know, have that knowledge. You know, I've got to give up all this earthly knowledge for something that I have no idea about. So to deal with that resistance, and that, which is fear, of course, I recognize.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think
thank you. Very, very, very helpful.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, I think that recognizing that is the first thing, the first stage. As I said, you've got these two parts of your mind pulling in each direction, and you know, just recognizing that fear and that resistance is the first stage. And the more you practice this kind of meditation, the Course in Miracles lessons, the more you shift towards the light, towards reality, and the temptation to hang around decreases, I think, and until it becomes more of an obvious choice. It's a process. It's a process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you can instantly let go of resistance, then well, I mean, you'd be Jesus. Well, I'm not. You may be Jesus, but I'm not. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
I have a comment in chat. It says, being aware is more important, and then brackets, as Dr. David Hawkins said, as Ian just mentioned. Thank you, Ian.
Well, I agree. I'm pleased that David Hawkins agrees with me. Yeah, awareness. That's the thing.
Okay, time for one more share. Anyone? Dennis, take yourself off mute.
Ian, thank you for that timely reminder. Just lately, I've had started meditating and finding the silence, and the thought comes in, nothing's happening here. And the ego comes in, and I have problems dealing with that, and I shall remember this lesson and use it in the future. I have been to the light, to the Thousand Suns, and like everybody else, I was fearful. First of all, my God, I wanted to stay there. I didn't want to come back into this body. I wanted to stay. And that's impossible. And I've tried getting back there again and again, and I keep trying. And sometimes I'm there and sometimes I'm not. I just keep meditating and trying to still the mind and find the silence, and not listen to the ego, which says you're wasting your time, you're getting nowhere here. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Dennis. And again, you described those two the two forces: the part of you that wanted to stay there, and the part of you that won for the time being, the part that didn't want to stay there. But I think eventually you make a different choice.
Okay, Ian, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you for walking us through this meditation today. And thank you all for being there. Take yourself off of mute. Show your appreciation to Ian.
Thank you, Ian.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Something else. You all.